If you've been trying to build a business for over 6 months and nothing has happened, then you are distracted. And probably one of the worst things that you can do if you're trying to build a business online is do it in an unfocused manner because you still make the sacrifice, you're still sat behind that laptop, you're still not seeing your friends as much, you're still not building your personal life, you're still spending less money, you're still taking all the risk. But if you've not got 100% focus, you're not going to be getting the benefit. So you're going to be doing all the hard shit and not getting the benefit. And I see over and over and over and over again, everybody is distracted by the same stuff. When you walk around on the street, you see what people are doing. Yeah? You see everyone with their head buried in their phones. You go and meet people and they've got notifications popping off on the phone. Everybody is living in a constant state of distraction. The opportunity has never been bigger for us, our age, but the distractions have never been more. So what that means is everybody's distracted. If you can not be distracted, you can get ahead. That is where you get ahead of people. And in this video, I'm going to go through a tier list of the biggest distractions. The first thing, this is S tier. S tier. Just people arguing in general, right? And, you know, this is like a Charlie Veitch clip. Charlie Veitch is actually funny. I'm not going to say I don't think it's funny, right? But all social media is, for the most part, it's just people arguing. And it's like, why do people just log on for a daily dose of watching broke people argue? Do you know what I'm saying? So anything that's related to people arguing, content creators that are always arguing, politicians arguing, flipping TikTokers arguing, your negative friends arguing, you know, if you're going out to a bar and everybody's arguing, this is the worst distraction. These people, all they do is fucking argue, right? And let me tell you something. Anybody with anything going on whatsoever is not having arguments about pointless shit. They're not getting too angry. They're not getting too aggressive because the focus and their attention isn't on pointless stuff. Nothing comes out of arguing, does it? You're probably thinking of a person in your life right now who actually argues a lot. You probably are, right? Well, cut them the fuck off. Yeah, people who are arguing, they can argue with a lamppost, mate. They don't care. And then this is another thing, you know, this is, you know, just arguing in the city centres. What you've got is, you've got illegal immigrants, and then you've got the far right, and then you've got the liberals, and then you've got the content creators, and everyone's just having one big argument. Well, you watching them argue doesn't fix any of the problems, even whatever side you're on, yeah? You being involved in the arguments doesn't fix any problems, whatever side you're on. So, therefore, going and just meeting up and having an argument, just having an argument with a bunch of broke people, what's that going to do for your life? This is what I want to say, right? If you've got someone, let's say you've known them 10 years, and they're arguing all the time and they bring trouble, well, you don't have to keep speaking to them. And some of you might be thinking, Theo, I don't want to stop speaking to her. Well, like, do you want your goals or not? If you want your goals and you stop speaking to them, that's what it is. Look, the second thing, if your phone's looking like this, yeah? If your phone's looking like this, wow. Just all the social media apps downloaded on it. Like, look, there's no bigger distraction on this earth than you could possibly have than just having every social media app, one, downloaded, and two, just being there, open on your phone all the time. Like this, listen, I'm highly disciplined. Highly disciplined, right? If I click into this app, I'm on it. I'm hooked on it. I've got no control. That's why I don't have it. Yeah? All of these, every time you go on them, you click on them and you're downloading information. You're downloading information about people arguing, you're downloading other people's opinions, you're downloading nonsense, and you're just filling your mental real estate. When you're going through this period of trying to achieve anything, to be honest, this can be something in fitness, this can be something in business, this can be something in self-development, whatever it is. If you're trying to actually do something with your life, there's never a time to have these because you've got to go through a period of you're focusing on this one thing. And when you're going on these, it's affecting your focus. Because now you can't think about your own thing, you can't figure out your own shit because you're just looking at all this other bullshit that other people are doing online. And, you know, we know it's fake, a lot of it, yeah? We know it's a lot of people arguing. We know there's just a lot of bullshit on there. It's just the most pointless activity you could possibly do. And if you've got your phone like this and all the apps are just on it and you're on all social media accounts, I don't know how you're going to build a business because I've never met anyone who just is smashing them all the time who does. I really don't. And this is an extension of this. Just having notifications on in general. It's like if I meet another grown man and he's got all these notifications on, sports betting app popping off, Instagram popping off, someone messaging him, all these social media apps. Well, you just know that they're gonna be overall losing. Because how can you be on all of those and do something with your life, right? How? Because the screen time per app, and they use them all, is going to be half an hour per app. Well, that's 4, 5, 6 hours a day. How can you possibly build something to a good enough level when you're spending 6 hours a day on social media? Now, this is the step before this. So this is why it's even worse. You just can't, you as a online entrepreneur, if you are, right? Most of the stuff that we're doing nowadays in 2025 and beyond is online, isn't it? So when you're constantly online and you're trying to focus on one thing and you've constantly got this thing pinging off, trying to shout for your attention, talking about different problems, it's taking your brain to think, it's taking your brain there as well, because you're thinking about it and then you're weighing up and you're making decisions. Should I open it? Should I not? Is it important? Is it not? And all these decisions are just clouding your mind and clouding your mind away from your own stuff, right? If you're sitting and you're trying to do an important task that's got high leverage, then how can you have a notification of some retard sending you an Instagram reel on, right? And just distracting you and distracting what you're doing. Well, it's costing you away from that task. So how are you meant to accumulate big tasks that is eventually going to turn into this life-changing event, whether it's a business or fitness or whatever, and you've just got your phone constantly popping off? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So look, no notifications on. Yeah, if you've got notifications on, this is why you're not achieving anything, because I can guarantee every time that notification goes off, you're straight on your phone. And then another thing with the phone, these things, man, these are either the most transformational devices ever to hit the human race for certain people, or they are the biggest distraction that you can possibly have for others. That's depending on how you're using it. So it's either the most powerful device that we've ever had as humans, or it's the most destructive. Because some people are using it as a tool, and some people are using it as the consumer. They're getting consumed by it. They're the buyers. But when you can start using it as a tool, right, and I'm going to explain to you how in a minute, then that is where you really can get the benefit of it. But people are actually either using it to change their lives, make money off it, build a business on it, right? Communicate on it, learn on it. And then some people are just constant distraction. They're just looking for constant distractions. And look, if you want to increase the amount of value you're getting out of it, then this is what you need to do. Don't have every single social media app downloaded. Number 2, if you are going on Instagram too much, delete the app. Yeah, if that app isn't making you money, you shouldn't be on it. If you're building a business, that is. And look, I need to make this message clear, because I'm not like no human being should use Instagram, yeah? If your life's going good, Instagram's okay. But if you're in the building phase and you're saving your money, you're not going out, yeah, you're not having too much fun, you're trying to sacrifice everything to put all the attention and finances to this business that you're trying to make to replace your income and to change your quality of life, then it's going to take some sacrifice. And if you're on Instagram every day, looking at other people and what they're doing, it changes your mind, because you're looking at this lifestyle, the 1% lifestyle, and you're thinking, well, I'm working hard as fuck. My lifestyle's not fun, but then their lifestyle's so fun. And you might know that person personally. You might know that you work harder than them. You've made more sacrifices than them. But the difference is they're propping up this lifestyle with financial illiteracy, buy now, pay later options like Klarna, and overall just a warped perception of reality, because they just do the 1%. You know, these people, they go on holiday for 7 days and they've got content for a month, but they hate the job and the girlfriend, yeah? So Instagram is not the one if you're in the building phase. And I don't think any human being should have all this. I mean, how can you use all this in an appropriate manner? Does anyone ever go on any of these for 5 minutes? No. So they constantly flick through each of them. And when you mix this with having an argument, getting stressed off it, your phone's going off, then you're opening these, and then the thing is, it's like a doorway. Like this WhatsApp notification goes off because you're in this bullshit group chat with your idiot friends that you grew up with, yeah? And then, all of a sudden, because you're now on your phone, you then click on Instagram, oh, nothing on there, Facebook, and then all of a sudden it's an hour and a half. It's not only an hour and a half, but you're just destroying your attention span. You're destroying your focus for the rest of the day. And people don't even know they're doing it because people don't know the trigger. This is the trigger, right? One notification can be the trigger for an hour's worth of lost time every single day, 2 hours worth of lost time every single day. So you're just not valuing your time when you're living like this. And another thing on the argumentative thing, people who are argumentative, people who like to argue on bullshit, I mean, cut them off. Cut them off. You cannot, these people do not want to get anywhere. They do not want to get anywhere. They really don't, because if they did, they wouldn't be arguing. And they're just so emotionally triggered. They're so emotionally involved that they can't even begin to understand why arguing is not the great thing to do. Yeah, there's such low IQ and such highly charged that they don't even know why it's bad. So it's pointless even explaining it to them. It really is. But there's one thing that's guaranteed. If you're having arguments with people who love to argue, all your emotions are going to be going there. All your time's going to be getting dragged in. You're going to be bothered about it for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month. This is a broke people activity exclusively. It really is. Now, a debate and an argument are two different things. I'm not talking about a debate. I love a debate. I would love to go to head with people. I went to an engagement party last week. I only knew the guy who was getting engaged and his girlfriend, and I didn't know anyone else. I went on my own, and I was having a debate with 10 people at once. I love that shit. I want the smoke. But I'm not arguing. That's the difference, yeah? This is like an intelligent back and forth, or maybe like a bit of a joke back and forth. Arguing on negative bullshit is just idiotic. Stay away from these people. This is a brokey activity. Nobody else does this. They really don't. And look, if you're watching this and you're working class like me, you're going to grow up around a lot of people like this. Maybe some in your family. Yeah? So it's time to maybe... Yeah, that's what you got to do if you really want to start thinking clearly. Next thing is... Wow, this is a big one. This is an absolute big one. Put that in A tier. Look, people who just watch videos like this. What's the fastest way? What's the best business model? Should I do this? Should I do trading, drop shipping, SMMA, FBA, whatever, personal brand, How much can I earn a week? What's the highest leverage? I need passive income. Right, let me just tell you a little secret that nobody likes to say online, yeah? Making money is difficult, right? But everything works. All these popular business models, everyone makes money in all of them, right? You need to not look for this magic guy who's going to tell you how to cross the ocean, because even the most experienced sailor with the most miles sailed and the longest beard and the biggest boat, he can't tell you what waves are going to come. Your job is to get good at riding the waves, yeah? And you only get good at riding the waves when you get in the water. You can't read a book about the waves, yeah? You can't you can't experience the waves without being in the water. And there's no human on earth that can predict the waves for your specific journey. And that is the way you need to think about it. So everything works. And look, it might take you 6 months, 12 months, 2 years to make something work. And if you're one of these guys who's like thinking, oh yeah, I'm trying this week, then next month, that one, or in 12 months, that one, well, look, if you're trying something a month later, then you've not tried. That's just the top and bottom of it. You've not tried. Don't be one of these lazy motherfuckers. If you're serious about it, you pick one thing and you stick at it. You stick at it for how long it takes. Whatever it takes. Forget 1 month, 2 months, 6 months. You stick at it till whatever it takes. Every day. That's how you make a business model work online. That's how you make it work. You decide what you are. And don't be listening. And these guys love to tell you which one of these is best to do. Like, I'm speaking to people about trading, right? Well, it's like why is everybody trying to get you to do trading? I don't know what it is. Everybody. But everybody who tells me to do trading, they've all got jobs. Yeah, they all work for somebody. They don't trade full time. So why would you tell me about trading if you don't trade full time? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But do not be this guy searching for these. Just pick one and run with it. Yeah, for me, I did e-commerce. I used to buy and sell stuff on the internet, on eBay as a kid. So buy, sell. I used to do it in person. It made sense for me to do e-commerce. Makes sense, you know. If you're a numbers guy, you might want to do trading. So, you've got to find your little thing based on what you like, and that's it. The next thing is people like this. Okay. Have you seen this guy? He's called Cycling Mike here. And look, this is the next thing. Complainers. The negative complainers. Wow. These are the worst type of people. The worst type of people. And this is like something you see in Britain a lot now. Like the attitude of a lot of British people are like this. It's not my fault. I can't do it. You shouldn't be doing this. Oh, I can't get time off work. I don't like my girlfriend. It's too difficult to figure out. I don't have enough money. You know, my mum and dad did this. I can't do it. Why are you doing this? Why are you talking like that? That's offensive to me. I don't like it. Why are you doing this? These people that just complain, and this guy's the perfect mascot for it, yeah? This is like the complaining final boss, isn't it? Because he just goes around with the GoPro on complaining at things that don't matter. This is what these people do. These complainers, they just focus on things that don't matter. Well, let me tell you something, yeah? If you just focus on things that don't matter over and over and over again, well, what are you going to get? You're going to get results that don't matter. If your time and energy and focus goes onto things that are bullshit that don't matter, you're not going to get anything back, are you? And these complainers, it's sticky. It's sticky, yeah? When they start complaining at you, if you get people, the worst people, and I've had experience with these, right, is these ones, the angry complainers. The angry complainers. You mix these together, right? You mix these together, and you throw a little bit of this in, because they get angry about the social media use because they've stopped doing their own shit, and then they start complaining about it. You see how all this goes together? The angry complainers, this is who you need to stay away from, because there's just no way that you can get on with your life when you've got someone negative, and that negativity, it gets on you. You can be the most positive guy in the world, and it can get on you. Now, look, I want to just give a caveat to this, right? I was never this negative guy complaining, right? But I'll be honest, I went through some serious stuff, and I started getting beat to death by life a little bit, and I started complaining. Yeah, I started complaining, and I'll be honest, I had some stuff worthy of complaining about, but you never want to be this guy. Listen, you get hit by a car, you should smile and say thank you. That's what level you need to get to, because you complaining about the speed of the driver does nothing for you. It does nothing for you. The best scenario, even in that situation, is you sitting and saying, oh, wow, I'm looking forward to the hospital bed. I heard they do nice food in the hospital. Yeah, positive attitude. I had to get a positive attitude, because when I turned into this complainer and I was just talking negative, well, guess what? Your mind's negative. And my mind was negative. And then when your mind's negative, your actions are negative. People don't want to be around negative people. It starts spiraling. Then the worse your life gets, the more negative you start getting. Then more negative stuff starts happening. It's impossible to make good moves in your life, be surrounded by good people, if you are this complainer guy. Nobody likes to hear the complaining. And these people are never wrong. These people are never wrong, and it's never their fault, and they never take accountability, and it don't matter how hard they try, it don't matter the perfect setup. You could give them £1 million. You could show them £1 million, and the first thing they'd say is, "It's not all profit though." Yeah? These people are just the worst. Complainers, they're negative. They've got nothing else to talk about because they don't do anything else. They can't talk about, oh, I achieved this, or I did this, or I think this. It's just all complaining. All complaining. Now, the next thing is, look, just asking for advice in general, right? I mean, look, if you're running a business or you're trying to figure something out, especially online, like, yeah, look, part of that is it's lonely. Yeah, there's nobody you can turn to for advice. And listen, guess what? If you're going around asking advice, and I see this all the time, if you're asking business advice from your friends that don't do business, yeah, how stupid does that sound? How stupid does that sound? But yet people do it over and over. They ask business advice from people who aren't even in business. Or money advice from people who aren't making money. Would you go up to a fat person on the street and ask them training advice? Would you? Okay. Would you go ask a woman how to be a man? Would you? You wouldn't, would you? So don't think that you need to ask for advice. What you need to do is just sit down and figure it out on a laptop. That's it. You don't need this constant advice. You don't need this. I'm not saying don't look for information and don't talk to people, but stop thinking that someone's got this advice that's going to unlock the key for you. The key gets unlocked by putting the reps in, working, sat indoors on a laptop. That's how you figure stuff out. That's how you learn stuff. We've got all the information for free on the internet. the more access than any human in previous times. You can learn anything for free and be a complete expert. It's all there. You do not need this secret advice. You just need reps and looking at it with a focused attitude and a focused manner. Stop looking for advice. You don't need it. Yeah? I'm not saying stop learning, but stop thinking you need this advice to unlock it and you can't do it without. You can do it, whether that's a business or whatever. Next thing is stop spending time with people who do fucking drugs, right? This is the worst. Listen, let me tell you something about addicts. And I've got plenty of experience with addicts, right? These are the most selfish, destructive people you can ever meet, right? And yeah, this might be someone you've grown up with. This might be someone in your family, right? But look, if this guy's an addict and they're not, it will ruin their life because he will always choose drugs. And has anyone seen this film, by the way? This is a really good film called The Bronx Tale. That's Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg, and then there's someone else. Basically, there's like New York kids who end up doing drugs. Well, listen up. The guy who's on the drugs is going to drag you in it big time. Big time. Maybe not the drug usage, but believe me, he will always choose the drugs over you. And there's something about the addicts, they're the most conniving and just selfish people you can get, and the manipulators. This is why you find like alcoholic men with women who are just nice, right? And you wonder how it goes, how it happens, because they emotionally manipulate. These are like the bottom feeder people. And look, when I say addicts, some of you might be thinking, well, I don't know any addicts. You know, people, drug addicts, people on the street. Listen, I don't know any people on the street, right? But people have drug habits. Yeah, your friend who does cocaine every single weekend. Yeah, he's an addict. Okay, your friends that are drinking twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week, they're addicts. They will always choose that. They'll spend down to the last money to do that. You have to get away from these people. And the poorer the area you come from, yeah, the more that you're going to know about this. Okay, but you have to get away from these people. These people are always going to choose it, and they're just going to end up manipulating you. And if you don't follow what their prerogative is, that's when they will start unloading on you. And you can help these people. You can feel sorry for these people. You can say they've had a hard life. You can say all of these things, but ultimately they're just completely selfish down to the core. And they have to go on their own journey to fix that. You can't fix that for them. And look, you can look at this and think, well, I've known him for years. I've known him for 20 years. I've known him for 10 years. They're my best friend, whatever. But ultimately, if you're serious about actually doing something with your life, building a business, being successful for yourself, then that just doesn't fit with doing drugs every single weekend. And that's the top and bottom of it. And you've got to decide which path you want to go on. And yeah, you're going to be confronted with some stuff that's like, yeah, this guy that you've known for 10, 15 years is maybe your best friend. But ultimately, right, if they're doing this destructive behavior, you can sit down, you can be real with them. If nothing changes after that, then look, the price of success is you have to cut people off that are not ultimately on the similar path. Yeah, if you're trying to do something and be clean and successful, like this type of behavior, it attracts a certain type of person. It attracts a certain type of activity. They're going to be going to certain places with these certain activities. And it's just, listen, it's just stuff like that. I had to be really careful with this because when I had my first business, at one point I had £400,000 worth of stock in a warehouse in Bradford. Yeah. A warehouse, like an underground warehouse in this little room, right? Nobody knew what I was doing down there. Nobody knew I had this stock. Yeah, I don't have any of it anymore, so I'll talk about it now. But believe me, I wouldn't have had a YouTube channel back then. Nobody knew I had this business. Yeah, these people that I knew that were out here every weekend doing certain things, nobody knew. I didn't tell anybody. I was very careful because I knew how information gets around, especially if you're in your hometown still. Luckily, I'm not going to be very soon, but look, you have to look at these people and just think, is this what I want for my life? And look, there's some serious decisions you've got to make. There really is. There's some serious decisions you've got to make. You've got to go through some sacrifice. You've got to distance yourself from some people. If that behavior, because if you're trying to build something, you are that thing. Like attention's going to it. You're trying to optimize your sleep for it. You're optimizing your diet for it. Your focus for it. Your finance for it. You're taking attention away from other areas of your life and putting it towards this one thing. Well, them other areas are going to be sacrificed. And you're doing it because you want this thing to work. You have to be more loyal to that thing. because that is the thing that's ultimately gonna pay you one day. That's the tree that you're watering. That's the seed that you're planting, and you're trying to grow it to get the fruit off it one day. And you've got to be convinced that you're going to get the fruit. However, if you're taking the water away from it and you're just pouring the water down the drain at these other things, then you're not going to be able to grow that tree properly. And sometimes you don't grow the tree. Sometimes you're making gambles and you don't grow the tree. So you've got to watch out for these things. You've got to be really selfish about it. Now, look, another thing is, if you're trying to make some money with a business, okay, and you've not made any progress, then look, you're probably not spending enough money, yeah? Listen, I'm from a working class background, very tight growing up, very tight. However, when it came to stock, I reinvested into my business, and from doing that, I was always a big reinvestor. So there was this one time, I went to a Stone Island sample sale event, and to buy stock to sell, I was buying the Stone Island stuff to sell. And we went in, and it was this thing called For Marketing, and it was in central London. And we went in, it was this room full of Stone Island rails and CP Company and Kids Stone Island and accessories, and it was like an invite only event for a couple of days. So we went down on the first day, and we'd spend about 5 to 10k every time. This one particular time, I spent 9.5 grand on my debit card. No, didn't flinch. There you go. And then on the way home, I was about 20 years old, 19 years old at this time. And on the way home, I went to Burger King with my friend, right? And I'm there in Burger King, yeah? Or KFC. I'm there in KFC, and I'm downloading the KFC app to get like £2 off my meal. I'm not saying you have to do that, right? But what I'm saying is, I was very assets and liabilities focused, like to the extreme, yeah? Even at that young age. And the lesson out of that is, that's how willing I was to invest into my business. That was the priority of my life, was in reinvesting into that business. Because I knew that when I take this little bit of money and I reinvest it into the business, it turns to a double, or it turns to a 1.5. And then I take that double and I put it back in, and it turns to another double, right? And through doing this is how I made millions on the internet, yeah, from zero, from a market stall. I started with nothing, never had a job. Do you know what I'm saying? It were all from reinvesting the money back in, spending the money. I'd buy the stock, I'd buy the equipment, always got the best equipment. You see a MacBook, microphone, Shure microphone, lighting, camera. You don't need all this stuff to be successful, right? But these are assets for a business. If this is going to make the business more successful, then I'm going to invest into it. So if you're not seeing any progress, well, invest into it. That might even be a program, right? When I went broke for the first time, well, I've been broke before, but lost everything for the first time, and the only time, I hope. I actually spent £3,000 on a mastermind and a mentorship. Well, at the time, I was an every delivery driver, absolutely flat broke, building myself back up. Yeah, earning fuck all. But what did I need at that time when I'm broke? I need the mentorship more when I'm broke rather than when I'm rich. Right, so when I was seriously balling a couple of years before, I still could have bought the mentorship, but I needed it more when I had nothing. But I was always willing to reinvest into my business. I'll reinvest into the equipment. I'll buy the mentorship. I'll buy the courses. I'll buy the online mentorship. I'll buy the chance to go and meet somebody. I'll pay to go to a seminar. I'll get a flight to a different country. I'll go to an event somewhere else. I'll get the train ticket. I'll go to the head office. I'll pay for everything. I'm trying everything. But when you reinvest into your business, that's where you're going to start seeing some results. So yeah, look, if you're not making progress and you've been trying at something for the past 6 months, listen, you're probably doing some of these. These are the things that are going to take your focus away. And your focus is your energy. Yeah? You've only got 3 things in life, yeah? You've got your time, which is your biggest asset. You've got your focus, and you've got your finances. Okay? Look, you've only got 3 things in this life. You've got your time, your knowledge, and your finances. Well, your time, if you're swapping it for bullshit, arguing and nonsense and complaining, then you can't swap it for knowledge. So you get no time, no knowledge. And you can't swap your time for finances either if you spend it doing this bullshit stuff. Okay, so doing these activities, it affects your time, it affects your knowledge, it affects your finances. Those are your 3 only assets that you're using as leverage to actually fix your fucking life. Okay, hope you enjoyed that video. Watch this next. All the best. Whoa!